there is a disconnect. And so when you come out and you see someone who opens their mouth, wah, and starts saying that Tracie Ellis Ross is this, that, I'm asking, are you people thinking, right? Because it is because of people like you that she is there. Sure, she did not say anything about a young man who was 19 or 12. You see, that is the thing. I'm sure Tracie didn't say anything about a young man who was 19 or 12. So hi guys, how are we all doing today? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Chinyo of Gillette Style Glam. So first time here with me, thank you so much for being here. And if you're already subscribed to this amazing family, you are awesome. You're truly welcome. How are we doing today? Okay, so my video this week is going to be backward coming up. So first of all, we're going to dive in and so today we're going to be talking about Shannon Sharpe and his lawsuits, the scandal that has just, befall him, the $50 million scandal that has just befallen him. We're going to be talking about so many things. I have a podcast, and my podcast, I title topics like this, on my podcast as men we do not want to waste our time with, men who are time wasters, and unfortunately Shannon Sharpe, as much as I love him, falls into that bracket. This is somebody that I was actually like, when I felt like, everywhere, like the internet was coming, at him for the age on, from some of the things. It wasn't for the ages, but for the things he wore. I was like, listen guys, leave this guy alone. That's what he wants, and I understand, I get it. So today we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about what led to all of this, and so if you want to hear what I gotta say, it's a long one. So if you want to hear what I've got to say, take your cup of iced coffee. I mean, the weather is getting warmer now. Iced coffee, iced tea, your kombucha, whatever it is that makes you, happy. And let's dive right into it. All right. So welcome back. So we woke up last week to this news that Shannon Sharpe was hit with a $50 million lawsuit in Nevada. Now, it says that the person who is putting this lawsuit against him is a 19-year-old. I'm not going to call her name. It's enough. Who dated Shannon for 2 years plus, almost 2 years. So at the time this relationship happened, to make you understand, at the time this relationship took place, she was 19, because now that makes her 21 in 2025. And Shannon was 54, because Shannon is 56 today. Now, if you do not know who Shannon Sharpe is, Shannon is an NFL Hall of Famer, cup winner, you name it. He got it all in the bag. And she alleges that in this relationship, that most times he was aggressive with her, and and this particular day or days or something like that, he allegedly RAP'd her. Now, the before we go further, the lawyer who is handling this case is Tony Busby, and we all know how Tony Busby fell from grace with the Jay-Z, with the Jay-Z lawsuit, right? And I will be very honest. I know I said stuff in my previous video. If you haven't seen that, I'm going to hang it here in the comment section, or in in the description box. The name alone, Busby, come on. It sounds like a pimp. But hey, we listen and we do not judge. So it's Tony Busby who is the person that is handling this case again. Now, this is happening in the midst of Shannon about to seal $100 million deal for his network of shows on with ESPN, right? I have a question there, but we're going to go back to it. Now, we are also aware, that video, I looked for that video. We're also aware that last year, something happened on IG Live with Shannon Sharpe, whereby he went on IG in the middle of, his exercise. I don't want to use that because YouTube is not even smiling. In the middle of his, curricular activities, and we had an earful, right? Now, Shannon came out on air and he apologized and, talked about the fact that he didn't know that he accidentally pressed the live button. I don't even know how your phone is even supposed to be with you on your bed or wherever when you are supposed to be doing your extracurricular activities, with whoever. But hey, that's what he says. Internet, the netizen says, well, we don't believe you. You did that on purpose, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Well, that was in the past. We rode over it. We laughed it off. It was a joke. Now, we'll also go into, I'm going to break it down. So first of all, the first thing I'm going to talk about that is this. Is it a coincidence? What are the odds, right, that this person, this girl, is bringing up this what's it called? It's bringing up this lawsuit in the wake of Shannon Sharpe about to sign this amazing lucrative deal, with ESPN, or rather for his show. What are also the odds that, the person who is filing this lawsuit in the name of Tony Busby is going straight for half of his cut? They are not even doing 10%. They are doing half. Anyway, we listen and we do not judge. So, I have a bone to pick, right? I have a bone to pick with Shannon because yes, we have, it looks like, he didn't do what was alleged against him. But unfortunately, with the way things have gone or are going, from the audios that were leaked, he may not get off lightly. He may not get off on the charge of, he may get off on the charge of RAPE, but on assault, I'm not sure he's going to be able to get off on that. Because again, these two people were in a relationship. Remember that. And I think that's where, there's a difference between someone who's not in a relationship with you, who something of this nature is done to, but both of you have been in a 2-year relationship. That's not to say that things like this don't happen, but it's a little bit dicey, where he's concerned. I mean, how the law looks at things differently. And I actually do feel like Tony Busby desperately needs, I feel like Tony Busby desperately needs a rainy day. He needs, I don't know, I just feel like he needs money desperately. We don't know why, but I feel like he needs to solidify something financially and around celebrities, especially black celebrities. He needs to solidify something there. And it is also quite telling the fact that Tony Busby has the habit of going after black celebrities, not Caucasian, but black, right? Because I think for me, in my discourse, because I'm going to be, I'm trying to be on the side of, I'm going to be playing devil's advocate here, because it's telling that he comes after black celebrities and he doesn't have, records of Caucasians. And it says a lot to me, and it says a lot to my understanding of what he assumes black people to be, especially, be it male or female. I'm not going to, I don't know about any, be it male or female. I have an impression that he has an impression in his mind how male black celebrities put themselves out, which is going to tie into what I'm going to talk about in dissecting this story where Shannon Sharpe is concerned. And so if we look at it, when we look at the coincidence and everything, I've talked about the financial gain. What does he stand to gain? What does he need this? What does he need all these? Why does he need all of this? Again, like his name suggests, buzz for, especially where male celebrities are concerned. It could have been any other celebrity. It could have been any other lawyer, but it had to be him, right? Okay. Now, I also want to take us back to Shannon's Club Shay Shay podcast. We all were testimony to that podcast, from the most viral with Cat Williams to Monique. 2 amazing podcasts. And there was something that was very true in those 2 podcasts. Something both of these people said in those podcasts, those 2 episodes, that everyone every netizen is citing. I mean, you can always go check out the podcast if you want, or I'll put the link for that one here. Okay. And where she talked about, first of all, Kat said, well, listen, dude, right? He's not saying that white chicks are, bad, but it doesn't mean he's not scared of them. Listen, you see, Kat, Kat speaks spiritually. Me, you see how Kat, you know what Kat said? Yeah, what he said. What he said. If you understand. And then Monique came up again, citing and saying the same thing to to Shannon, and say, leave all this young white, leave them alone. You should go get yourself a lovely woman who's, a certain type of age, who's going to be able to rub your feet, do this, do that, and such and such and such for you. And it makes a lot of sense. I have always actually wondered about the fact that why does a 56-year-old man, that is Shannon, have the need to go after kids that are old enough to be his kids, right? And needs to have and show, his, sexual prowess where they are. Really? And it's also, this is going to take us down, I'm not going to call it a rabbit hole, but I'm just going to put some things out there that we are seeing more and more in men of this age range, and who have refused to grow up, who believe that, it's they're living their best lives. I don't know, at 56. And the funny thing about all of this is this, right? And this is me talking from experience. You see, the thing about this kind of behavior with men, and when I mean experience, I mean I know someone in that situation. The thing about this kind of men is that they actually have, their mindset is not telling them that they're old. They are not looking at themselves in that bracket of, oh, I'm getting advanced in age, maybe it's time for me to do such and such and such. Their mindset is they're still, they look fit enough, they have, they work out, they do this, they do that, they're successful, they have a child or 2. What could go wrong? So let them, that's how they're thinking. Now, the only way most times these kind of people can actually take a redress is when something of this magnitude happens to them, or they see themselves in a situation where, they're kind of given a wake-up call that they were not expecting. So this person I'm telling you about is somebody I know, is a relative, and he kept on doing what he was doing, and it was his mother it was his mother that said they should find a wife for him. I was against it, because if at his age at the time he didn't think he wanted to get married, or he was ready to get married, why are you trying to force him? Because he was basically forced to get married. Okay. Why is he being forced? to be responsible. He has shown he doesn't want to be. He has shown that it's not in his cards. So his mom actually planned the whole thing and got him a wife, got his brothers and sisters. And I'm telling you that this person is the first son. Got his brothers and sisters to rally around and do his wedding. He didn't pay for his wedding. He didn't pay for anything. So it was his siblings that paid for his wedding, bought his wife's wedding dress, bought his own wedding, his suit, did the whole thing for him. Now, at the time this happened, he had no job. He had nothing he was doing. And all the things that he had been, set up for him, none of them came to fruition. He wasn't interested. Now, this is me. At that time, I was very young and I was like, it makes absolutely no sense. Let this dude be and let him keep going. And, everybody was like, never. He had to do it. Okay, so that happened. Fast forward years down the line, he began to have kids. And, it was like a wake-up call. He began to have kids very late, but he began to have kids. And he looked at himself and he realized, it was like he realized for the first time, I have nothing at this time. What am I doing? I have nothing for my family. Because again, this was someone who was, forced to become a family man. And so it was a harsh reality that came upon him. And he now began, imagine when the age you're supposed to be, hustling. You didn't hustle when you were supposed to, and then you begin to hustle because now you've got kids and these kids are dependent on you. And that was exactly what happened. And I will not forget the last time I saw him, he actually did speak to me and say to me that I really wish I had been able to see things this way before now. Because, 3 kids down the line, he has to ensure that he keeps his job. He has to ensure that he has to, be ahead, at work and stuff like that, ensuring that he's making the best of every situation, ensuring that his kids are okay. And you see that reality around him, so it's gone. It's no longer there. That life of irresponsibility just disappeared. It just happened like that and it disappeared, So most times men like Shannon Sharpe, they never get to really understand, what they're doing until things like this happen. And so we go back to where Monique tells him that thing, and we hear her. It was like a warning. It was like both Kat and Monique. It was like a warning to him and saying, hey, what are you doing? What are you really doing with yourself? You shouldn't be doing this. Go get married. Go do this and do that. Though we all know that marriage is not a yardstick for a man to be responsible, but, just get someone, right? Okay, now, fast forward. And again, it's not just Shannon, right? It's this lifestyle isn't just Shannon. Right? There are so many. And I want us to go to, talk about the disconnect of this growth and maturity with older men. Where Corey or something came up with on his podcast and was supposed to be bashing Tracie Ellis Ross about something she said on Michelle Obama's podcast. Now, when I saw all those podcasts, the way it was worded, I was thinking that in my head, I was thinking that, Tracie was regretting being a single woman. But when I listened to the podcast, it wasn't that. She was just saying that what is there to date that is in her age bracket are messy, are murky, and are immature. And I will tell you categorically, if you have not noticed, I will tell you categorically that a lot of young men today are going after older women. And you have to understand that it's not because how would I say it? It's not because they want to be there to make use of them. No, it's because we have a situation whereby these men who are ready and mature are not able to meet or see people who are ready, in their own age bracket or younger. It's also murky for them. And then we have these older women, right, who on their own are also looking at their own counterparts in their age bracket who are behaving like young teenagers. There is a disconnect. And so when you come out and you see someone who opens their mouth, wah, and starts saying that Tracie Ellis Ross is this, that, I'm asking, are you people thinking, right? Because it is because of people like you that she is there. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with dating a younger man. Okay? And I'm sure she did not say anything about a young man who was 19 or 12. You see, that is the thing. I'm sure Tracie didn't say anything about a young man who was 19 or 12. I'm sure when she was talking, she was referring to somebody who was in his 30s and 40s, right? But I'm sure it wasn't a 19-year-old, and I'm sure she wasn't dating a 12-year-old. Neither was she dating a supermodel who was 25, right? And that is what I'm talking about. The disconnect and total immaturity amongst men it's like a midlife crisis, right? It's like a midlife crisis that is going on with them, and they are not aware that they are actually going through a midlife crisis. They just believe, oh, they're having fun. And I'm asking, okay, how much fun did you not have as a young lad, right? That it wasn't enough for you, that you had to be having it in your mid-50s. Right? That's the question I'm asking. I'm asking that question because it makes absolutely no sense. In Nigeria, people like Shannon, there's a word we call them agbayas. Agbaya in Yoruba language, one agbaya. In Igbo language, we call them efulefu. And the thing is, efulefu in Igbo language has so many connotations, has so many meanings, right? So you choose your poison, and they mean the same. Agbaya or efulefu means someone who doesn't know that they are old, and is behaving like, who doesn't know that they're old, is old but doesn't know that they are old, and is behaving like a small, like a child or a teenager whose hormones are running rampage. That's what we call agbaya. Somebody who acts and behaves in a very embarrassing fashion. And that is what we see here. And then we question ourselves because we have found ourselves in a society where, women are tired. A lot of women will tell you, I choose the bear. Very simply, they just tell you, no, they choose the bear. Let everybody be safe. Let everybody be fine. They're okay. And that is what we're seeing. We're in a society where you have lots of ladies who are telling you, I'd rather be single than have to do. Because you see men who come out and say, be my peace. How? Or you see a man who says, when you have a man, do this for him, do that for him. How? Is he handicapped? It's a question I keep on asking. Is he handicapped? Is he handicapped? Why does he need a woman to do anything for him? If at the time you are ready for a relationship or a marriage and you have not been able to grow up, mature, do the work on yourself, why do you want someone else to come and be the one to take the burden off of you? I mean, remember just some few weeks ago, we were talking about Two-Face Idibia, right? And we also hear right now that he has taken Natasha and done her traditional marriage. Okay. And so, you're asking, the question you're actually asking is, what is going on? That's the question. are these people okay? Right? What is actually imbalanced here? And that's why I'm using the midlife crisis. That's why I'm using the midlife crisis language. But I think this is beyond that. And I say this is beyond that because, like I said again, the level of maturity is so low. So low. Intellectually, emotionally, it's bad. It's like we are in a society where a couple of men who have decided they have enough money and they can be excused. Are we looking at Nick Cannon? Or are we? One of the reasons I've not talked about Nick Cannon and Cameron is because I know that if I talk about it and if I talked about them, I'll be angry. And I don't want to. I don't want to have to be that. So that's one of the reasons I've delayed that topic for a long time. So, and I will never forget if any of you, can put into perspective where Mariah Carey has had to hone in her expressions on more than 2 occasions where the topic of Nick Cannon came up. And we can all guess the reason why she did that. For the sake of the children. Because she has kids with this person. And I'm sure daily she asks herself, how did I get here? How did I find myself with this person? What happened? At what point was I so clueless to accept this person to be the father of my children? Because again, you see, the person that you make the father of your children will go a long way, because the teaching, the person that you decide will be the father of your children, can either destroy your kids or make them whole. It's just what it is. And everything there is also dependent on the work you put in to make those children have a wholesome life. And there is something I've always said, and I agree with, is the fact that a woman cannot teach a man, how to be a man. It has to be a man who's whole and who is comfortable in his masculinity, flaws and all, that can actually teach a man and raise a man. And so you see the importance of being able to find and ensure that whom you decide should be a father of your progenitor is important. You see, we are in 2025, and it's so amazing how so many things begin to make sense, as time goes on, as we grow older in our lives and in the lives and in the world that we live in, right? And so, we are in a situation where the dating pool has become extremely murky, that it's like I said, a lot of women would rather just be by themselves. And this all has led to the growth of the baby mama trend. The baby mama situation, with men who think that this is a norm, as in it's a normal. And you begin to see the psyche and the disease and the whole problem behind all of this. But they are far from that. They are not seeing it that way. This is me referring to Nick Cannon and his pals, who are all in this window of baby mama, creating baby mamas left, right, and center. And I know, yes, that we have to also talk about the emotional insufficiency of the women who accept to be in this position. I know we'll have to talk about it, but today we're not interested. We're not going there. We're just talking about the immaturity of men in their 50s who have refused to grow up. If we also remember, about 3 months ago, there was this podcast of 3 men. And one was asked, do you love your wife? And he says, no, it's overrated. Now, A lot of people had so much to say. I purposely did not talk about that because, first of all, the person who was speaking knew what he was saying. He knew what he was doing. And apparently he's still married to the woman. They are not divorced. They're still married. Okay, so your opinion or whatever doesn't matter. She has laid her bed. She's lying on it. And I think she's fine with it. Right? But you see, when you hear such discourse, what it should tell you is take notes. That's, again, we are taking notes because this is where we are. We're taking notes. So what it should tell you is to take notes. And it's also inform you the kind of questions that you should be willing and ready to ask a man who is around you or comes around you. Because when you listen to them laugh at themselves, talk about their wives in the way they did without respect, it says to you that, yes, men like this exist, but you need to be able to filter them out. And it is these kind of rhetorics that have raised the red pill men that we see, who qui s'acharnent sur les femmes. I'm looking for the word that I'm going to use in English. I can't remember. Qui s'acharnent sur les femmes en disant que les femmes doivent être soumises à leurs hommes. Il faut pas parler. Il faut pas avoir les expressions. Il faut faire comme vous. We are in that. These are the people that give rise to this toxicity and immaturity, and men who feel threatened. Because if we asked Shannon at some point the reason why he's not married, or the reason why he's not going after a woman of his age bracket, it's all tied in his insecurities. In his insecurities to be found out, to be seen as not enough. In his insecurities of knowing that he's immature and he has not done the work and is not willing to do the work to be in that person that is worthy of whichever woman, sees him worthy. You will go behind and notice that there is fear in his demeanor, in what he would be able to discuss with a woman of his station. Because you see, with the 19-year-olds and the 20-year-olds and the 25-year-olds, there is no conversation happening. You see, there is no conversation happening. There is no depth to it. There is no connection going on. It's just wham, bam, thank you, sir. That's it. And, take a few dollars for shopping or whatever it is you want to do. That's what it is. And so you see that the being not ready to confront and speak to himself and say, hey, this has to stop. I mean, I'm getting too old for this. It's not coming. It's not in his orbit. It's not in his orbit. I only hope that at this point that he's going to learn a big lesson. I do not feel sorry for him. Yes, I don't. Even though I would love to, but I don't. Because, they say as you lay your bed, so you lie on it. So I don't. I only hope, again, that he's able to get out of this without too much damage from it. That's my only hope, that he gets out of it without too much damage, and he seeks help from the quarters that he needs help from. Shannon is a wonderful person. I agree with that, but there's still more work to be done. And on this note, guys, this is where I'm going to stop this video today. Do not fail to like, do not fail to share, and do not fail to comment. Leave your comments in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys very soon in my next video. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye.